Welcome everybody to Oswegolazo. We are on international break, but there's plenty of news and plenty of stuff to talk about. And I'm here with a special guy, man. It's my main man, Mike Neckers. How you doing today, man?
Nick, I'm doing wonderful. Sad Sam couldn't be here today, but I'm excited to be here filling in for him, and I think it's going to be a fun show.
Yep, we all dearly miss Sam. I'm not going to lie. I miss Sam right now. He's home enjoying his time with his family and his friends, but we got a couple things to talk about today. All right, we're going to talk about Oswego first, and then we're going to get into the top of the tables, the bottom of the tables, see what's going up there. We want to talk about a team that's been playing recently out of their minds, has been playing phenomenal. We'll talk about some predictions, and we'll talk about a certain player who really hasn't been focusing on the beautiful game and outside activities, and we'll end it with the one and only, the most prestigious award in soccer, Player of the Week. Oswegolazo's Player of the Week. It's just incredible, You know what I mean? Yeah. But let's start with Oswego soccer, really. We'll start out with the girls. The girls, they've played 2 games since I last talked to y'all. They played against Cortland, losing 2-0, unfortunately, and they also played against New Paltz, tying 0-0, and I want to focus on this New Paltz game really quick. Oswego outshot New Paltz 16-10, and 10 shots on goal. They had the same amount of shots on goal than as New Paltz had shots. And right now, as it stands, they are currently 6th in the SUNYAC rankings. New Paltz right above them at 5th. I think the girls, they got a lot of potential with their game. They got a lot of opportunities they can make, they can fix. They need to score a little more. They haven't really scored a lot. And I think once those shots get coming, I mean, set 10 shots on target. 10 shots on target's a very good start. Just none of them hit. They got to really get those shots into the corners, really pivot, and make those plays. And how we look at it on the men's side, Mike?
Nick, played the same opponents as the women's team, of course, the Cortland Red Dragons. They finished with a 1-0 loss, so an unfortunate loss there, but a nice battle. Kyla Rose finished with 9 saves, a 900 save percentage, let in the 1. But they also picked up 3 yellow cards in that game, and then most recently, just yesterday, they had a 1-1 tie with New Paltz, and same thing, 3 yellow cards in back-to-back games, so certainly something that they're going to have to keep an eye on. Try and keep things clean here moving forward. In the SUNYAC play, sitting at 1-2-2 as their conference record, and that puts them 4th from the bottom in the SUNYAC conference, and as of right now, they will not make the playoffs, so a lot to work on. But we look at their most recent game, a 1-1 tie with New Paltz. Sirixie Lindsay scored the first goal early, and then an equalizer in the 78th minute from the Hawks tied things up. But this team has moved a good step in the right direction. There's a lot more offensive prowess than what we saw at the beginning of the season, so I think there's a lot that they can be proud of.
I was going to say one positive would be that they scored. You know, they really haven't been scoring much when it comes to just playing the game, but they've been scoring recently a lot. I think they beat, what was the score of Canton? I think it was 3-0, 2-0, something along the lines of that. I believe Wojtek scored. Sirixie also scored. Sirixie's been a very good spot because I mentioned last time on the show that Tajay got injured, and he was their hard-nosed striker up top, pace faster than lightning, and really he got injured, and then Sirixie comes in and he's doing an amazing job. I think he's been a very good bright spot for Oswego men's soccer as we speak. And also the girls, I want to say that Kyla Sustad, she's been great. She's been playing absolutely phenomenal. But besides that, where do you think Oswego is going to be coming into SUNYAC? Do you think they're going to make the playoffs? Do you think they're going to actually upset certain teams in the playoffs? Where do you see them?
I think for this women's team, there's no doubt that they make these playoffs. They've had a very solid season. They're above 500, 2-1-2 in the conference, so exactly 500 as their conference record, and they're doing everything that they need to do to be in this spot and put themselves into the playoffs. As far as making a push in the playoffs, making a run, it's going to be tough. There's some really solid teams in the SUNYAC conference. You look at Cortland, you look at New Paltz, who obviously they tied this week, but a lot of really solid competitors in the SUNYAC conference. For the men's team, they've got to figure something out before they get to the end of the season, because 1-2-2 in conference isn't going to cut it, isn't going to get them that spot in the playoffs.
Yep, and I also see it's been uphill for them. Okay, they've had some challenging matches to come out and start. Obviously, going against New Paltz and then Cortland back to back, that's an issue. You're not going to get past that issue. But to have those big games there and realize that you just played 2 really impressive teams and you kind of held them off. 1-0 to Cortland isn't bad. A lot of people would probably predict that it was going to be a mess. But 1-0 to Cortland, I would take that with a grain of salt, and I would be like, okay, let's move on to the next, and let's keep playing hard, keep scoring goals, and keep going forward. I think they did a great job there, and yeah, I do believe in the girls. I actually think they might show out. Plattsburgh's leading that conference right now at 4-1, but I think the girls might show out, and they might show people that Oswego's here to stay, and they might even make a run in Suniac. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I think that's a great. It's a great spot for Oswego soccer. I think that honestly, this is a positive. You want to be here for both teams right now because you're middle of the pack. No one's got expectations on you. The only expectations you have is on yourself and what you think. Both teams have to realize that. No one's going to think about the ins and outs of your team. They really just need to realize they got to win games. The win-win-win mentality is huge for these upcoming games because we're getting closer to the playoffs and time's not running out. And I think it's going to be a very hard Suniac conference this year, and we're going to see how they play out. But really quick, we're going to go to a break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the professional world, and we're going to look at some tables. We're going to see how they could change and how teams could maybe step up. We'll be right back.
When you look at the number of disasters in the U.S., chances are every area will deal with some kind of emergency in the next decade. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
I had to eat a raw egg on Chris's dormitory floor.
I currently don't have any federal pending charges.
You know what you never did? You never walked to Walmart, Chris. That's my co-host. This is for making me eat roast Pop-Tarts. It's showtime, Chris. Come on.
I want to be on the air for that. I got a couple things to say.
No. Spin the wheel. Oh, you got censorship.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to...
Welcome back to Oswegolazo, everybody, and now we're going to take a little deep dive into the professional side of things. We're going to start by looking at the league tables and looking at what could teams do to better themselves on tabletop. We're going to start out with the Premier League. And the Premier League, it's been a roller coaster recently. If we look right here, we got Arsenal at the top. Liverpool were there, undefeated, lost 2 in a row. It's been a mess at Liverpool. I don't know what's been going on recently, and if we look down, Nottingham Forest still struggling 17th. I mentioned that last time on the show. I don't know what's going on there. I mean, they sacked Nuno, and I really don't understand why they sacked their manager. I believe they have. I can't remember off the top of my head who they have a manager now, but it wasn't better than Nuno. He was a great manager for them. And you got any opinions on this, Mike, really?
I will say, Nick, just a few weeks ago, Manchester United was all the way down at the bottom of the table near that relegation zone. So certainly working their way back up, sitting in 10th right now, but they've got a big matchup coming up against Liverpool Sunday, the 19th. So a week from today should be a really good game as well. But one thing that kind of scares me as a Liverpool supporter is this Liverpool team dropping down, losing their last 2 to Crystal Palace and then Chelsea. Not what you want to see. And it seems like there's just a lot of moving pieces in this team with all the new signings, and we just really haven't found a way to make them all click yet.
Palace is Liverpool's kryptonite.
Yeah.
I'm a Liverpool fan as well. I mentioned that last time on the show. Palace has beaten us in the Community Shield. They've beaten us in the Prem. We drew them in the Carabao Cup, too. So we're going to play them again. Maybe we'll break the streak of bad luck, but I think realistically it's going to be rough. Also, I want to mention Sunderland at 9th. Newly promoted Sunderland under Granit Xhaka's captaincy has been playing great soccer recently, and I think that's a very big surprise early in the season.
Yeah, Nick, next up we're going to move over to the La Liga, where, of course, it's Real Madrid and Barcelona battling it out as those top two teams, just like we've always seen. At least as long as I've been alive, it's been those two, sometimes Atletico, Villarreal in the mix. But as you can see here, Real Madrid in first with 21, Barcelona second with 19. Then it drops down 16, 15, all the way down. You look at the bottom, see some teams that you wouldn't expect down so low, specifically Sociedad, sitting at just one win on the season so far. Very ugly.
Very ugly. I mean, Sociedad, they've always been a top playing team. They got Mikel Oyarzabal. He's been a phenomenal winger for them. I want to also mention Betis. They've been pretty solid these past few years. Antony came from United. Everybody that comes from United plays better when they're not at United. Antony was playing well. East Coast kind of found his form again after leaving Madrid. I'm excited to see how they do. I honestly think they could make a run for a Champions League spot, maybe even third. And if Madrid or Barca slip up, which they probably won't, let's be honest. They might get second, but they probably won't slip up. Barca being second interests me because Madrid kind of seem like they're all over the place. Like, yes, they have amazing players, but they got no chemistry. They all are all over the place. They got the different personalities, and they're not working fluidly. But I'm kind of excited to see. They're undefeated as well with one draw and no losses, but we'll see how they play out, really, when it comes to this rest of the season. And honestly, that's all we really got for La Liga. We'll move on to Serie A now. And I think Serie A has been interesting, to say the least. Serie A, there's a couple teams here that definitely should not be where they are. Lazio 13th, Napoli 1st, undefeated as well with one draw. Same thing with Roma. They're playing two great teams, and I think that's going to be an interesting season. Not much to really say, no surprises besides Lazio, but yeah, it's been interesting here.
Yeah, Nick, and last but certainly not least, we got to take a look at the Bundesliga. The teams you'd expect sitting at the top of the table. This one, for the most part, pretty normal, but a couple teams I want to point out. 17th, Borussia Mönchengladbach, and then in 15th, Wolfsburg. Two teams that normally sit a lot higher on these tables, sitting at 0 points and 1 point. So we'll have to see how that goes for the rest of the year, but Bayern just doing so well this year.
Bayern, I want to talk about Bayern for a little bit. Bayern are undefeated in all competitions this season so far. Bayern also haven't lost a game since July. I want to thank Mike for that fun fact he gave me before the show. Bayern haven't lost a game since the Club World Cup in July in the quarterfinal matchup. And Harry Kane, he's the one at the helm. He's dominating everybody he sees. 11 goals on the season, 3 assists on the season, 14 goals and 14 goal contributions, to start the season. Harry Kane, oh my God, what do you think about that, Mike?
I mean, Nick, just dominance from this Bayern team. Of course, Harry Kane with 11 goals, but Luis Diaz tied for second in the Bundesliga as well with 5 goals. Missing him at Liverpool quite a bit, but glad to see he's performing so well on this other team, kind of like how Sadio Mane did.
Yeah, Luis Diaz, I feel like we shouldn't have given him up as a Liverpool fan. I feel like he's been great. Also, Olise, amazing signing from Palace. He's really came into his own in a big club like that. And Bayern, do you see them as Champions League contenders?
I don't see why not, Nick. I mean, you look at this team, obviously sitting 6-0, in not the hardest league in the world, but one of the strongest leagues in the world. I'd put it top 3 behind La Liga and the Premier League, sitting at 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of really solid teams in the Bundesliga. There's a lot of really solid teams all around Europe. Okay teams in the United States. So we'll get into that another week. But I think this Bayern team is a very complete team, coached very well, and I think they have all the pieces to be a successful team. It's just a matter of putting it all together when it matters most.
And speaking of Bayern, we're going to go into our next segment where we're going to look at some amazing matchups coming up next week after the international break. Thank God it's over. I'm wearing the international jersey, but I'm sick of it, man, because I can't watch any of it. We're going to talk about Bayern. Bayern play Borussia Dortmund coming up, and that's going to be a huge game. That's always like a little derby when it comes to the Bundesliga. Who do you think's coming out on top?
This is a tough one, Nick. Of course, Dortmund at 4-2 on the year, Bayern undefeated. I have to assume that Bayern's going to pull this one out. Dortmund's a really solid team. Karim Adeyemi's been great up front for them, but I think Bayern's just too powerful, too many powerhouses in that front three, in that midfield, and I don't think Dortmund's going to be able to break through.
Yeah, I believe it's going to be. I also believe Bayern are going to win. I'm going to say 3-1 to Bayern.
Oh, we're doing predictions. Okay.
Yeah, we are.
I'm going to go 2-1 Bayern.
I feel like Kane, he's going to get another one. I feel like Diaz will get one, and I also feel like maybe a center back sneaks in there. Maybe Alphonso Davies on the wing, something like that. But also, I feel like Borussia Dortmund might strike first even. Guirassi's been a great striker for them, maybe even Adeyemi up top. But for our next game, I want to look at, we also mentioned this earlier in the show as well, Liverpool, Manchester United. Now, if we looked at this game about 10 years ago, it might be a little closer, but you never know, you know? The world of soccer is so unique. What do you think for this game, Mike?
Well, Nick, obviously, I want to see Liverpool win this game.
Mm-hmm.
You want to see Liverpool win this game as well. Liverpool is our favorite team. It's been our favorite team for a really long time. With how they've played the last two games, I don't see it happening. I think Man United upsets Liverpool. I think they move up in the table. I think they drop Liverpool down fourth, maybe even out of the top four. I'd have to look at the standings. But I don't think Liverpool wins this game. As much as I hate to say it, I think it's going to be 2-0 Man United.
It's heartbreaking. I'm going to go against Mike here, and I think it's going to be the classic showing Liverpool always play against Man United in recent times. We had 7-0. We had 3-0. We had 4-0. And I think it's going to be a 3-0. I think Isak's going to score his first Premier League goal of the game, of the season, sorry, not the game. And I also believe that Wirtz might finally get on the score sheet. You know, I feel like this will be the game that will like kind of collect all of them and make them all one solid unit as a team. And I think it will be the one. And for the one of the final games we're looking at today, I want to look at Inter and Roma of Serie A. Roma sitting at second. Inter, I believe, top 5 on that table as we saw before. Where do you think that's going along the sides of Serie A?
You know, Nick, that's a tough one. Inter at 4th, Roma at 2nd, as you mentioned. Mm-hmm. 3 points between them. I'm going to go with Inter Milan, though. I think this is a really solid team. If you asked me about Christian Pulisic, I would have done a little glazing, talked about him for hours and hours. But give me Inter to take this one. AC Milan in 3rd, right between them. But I think Inter's going to win this one.
And you know what? I'm going to agree with you. I also think Inter are going to win that. That back line has been amazing for years. Pat DiMarco in the back, Bastoni. I honestly think Bastoni's a top 3 center back in the world. And I really think Inter are just going to be too much of a defensive prowess, and they're going to take the game. I think 1-0, honestly. It's going to be scrappy, as Italian soccer always is, but I think 1-0 is the case. And the last game I want to talk about is Aston Villa and Tottenham. What do we think about that?
That's hard to say, Nick. Both these teams not performing where they really should, in my opinion, so far this season. Tottenham, of course, has a pretty young team, but I think Aston Villa has a really good shot of walking away with this one. Maybe 1-0, 2-0.
I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. And
okay.
I really don't have much to say about that game. It's going to be close. But right now, we're going to go to a break. As soon as we get back, we're going to talk about our final segments. And thank you all. We'll see you soon.
Say, President Stanley, whenever there's bad weather, who would you turn to?
I'd turn to Storm Team 10.
No,
right
but you've
here.
got to say it like this. Storm Team 10. Say it with me. Storm Team 10.
If you like action, romance,
if you're watching this,
and highbrow humor,
surface is this.
Floor. Minch did not legitimately put his head in the toilet.
there's only one place to turn. Tune in to new episodes of
Oh boy!
only on WTOP.
Welcome back, everybody, to Oswegolazo. 2 more things to talk about Major League tonight, and we're going to start off with the star boy. Everybody knows him, Lamine Yamal. And Lamine Yamal has done something where it's kind of frowned upon recently, Mike. I'm not going to lie. He has trademarked his signature celebration, and it looks like a 304, and what that means is his postal code from his hometown in Spain. And I do believe that, in my personal opinion, it's kind of ridiculous. I think that trademarking a celebration, maybe he's trying to make a brand out of it. Maybe he gets a signature collaboration with Nike, even though he already has one. Maybe get it on a shoe. But realistically, what do you think of this, Mike?
Well, Nick, first of all, Lamine Yamal is a phenomenal soccer player. 18 years old and being able to play at the level he is. Already 2 goals and 3 assists through 4 matches in La Liga. Still looking for his first points in the Champions League, but a phenomenal performer. Of course, played in the World Cup at 16 years old, which was so cool to watch.
Yep.
But I think he's a little too worried about the money. So that's something that he's certainly going to have to take a look on and see what he can do, because a great player, but I would hate to see him sort of fall off or fall flat because he's more focused on stuff outside of the beautiful game than playing soccer.
And people have frowned upon his actions recently. He had a very scandalous 18th birthday party. I'm not going to go into detail because it was a bit much, but he's had a very scandalous time off the field. People are trying to reel him back in, try to make sure that he's fit to stay healthy. And Barcelona, I mean, they've had some games. PSG versus Barcelona in the Champions League recently. They lost that game, I believe, 2-0, 3-0? I can't remember off the top of my head.
I'll pull it up.
Yeah, pull it up, thank you. But they were playing really weird. The right backs and left backs play up like a wing, basically, so you have 4 wingers at that point because they're playing way too high. And I think it's just a problem. It's a popularity problem. All this outside of the game stuff is kind of getting to them, and I think they really just need to kind of dial their heads back in, because if this keeps going, it's going to be a mess.
Yeah.
And I really don't see how they would understand and figure out how to fix it.
Yeah, 2-1 loss to PSG in the Champions League. That was 11 days ago, back on October 1st, and the game winner was scored in the 90th minute by PSG as well, Goncalo Ramos. So, I mean, Barcelona right there with PSG for pretty much the entirety of the game, but you got to play until that final whistle, and as Nick mentioned, seems like there's some disconnect in the midfield, disconnect defensively and on those wings, and that's going to cost them in the long run.
Yep, and I also think injuries have been a factor. I know Rafinha has been out. Yamal was actually out for about 2 weeks, I think, and kind of just realizing they get beat on the counterattack so bad. They lost 4-1 to Getafe on the counterattack. Ronald Araujo causing a penalty also was an issue, but Barca's kind of in a weird spot. I feel like Barca's in the same spot as Liverpool, as we've lost 3 in a row. Barca's lost 2 in a row, coming from PSG and Getafe. And Getafe 4-1, no one ever saw that coming, really, Mike. But I think both teams got to kind of just realize, like, it's a new season, take it in, and realize that you should be playing the best soccer in the world. You know what I mean?
And I know we're talking about Lamine Yamal right now, but I mean, I want to switch to Liverpool for just a second, if that's okay.
Oh,
starting out 5-0 on the year, a perfect 5 wins in a row in the Premier League, and then to drop those 2 in a row as well as that Galatasaray game in the Champions League. I mean, I don't know what happened to completely flip this season on its head for Liverpool, but it was going so well, and then all of a sudden, just like that, snap, back to square one with Liverpool. So
yeah, I totally agree. That Galatasaray game was a mess. But we're gonna go into the best segment, the best award you could win as a professional player, the Player of the Week. And I want to start off with you, Mike. Who are some possible candidates for this Player of the Week award? And we're gonna look at the past 2 weeks as well, because
past 2
international
weeks, okay.
break. Yeah.
Well, first name that comes to mind, of course, has to be Erling Haaland. I mean, what he's done this season, last season as well, is just so impressive. He's a phenomenal player, has been since before he joined Man City, and will probably continue to be, barring any sort of injury. But I think another player we have to keep an eye on is Rasmus Højlund. Mm-hmm. He has looked so good this season, especially from where he was last season. The step up that he's taken has been great.
It's Man United. I'm telling you, they're cursed. Man United are cursed. Højlund comes out. He actually just scored recently today for Denmark, winning 3-1 against Greece. Haaland also scored a hat-trick yesterday against, I believe it was Israel, to win 5-0. 2 great players. I want to look at other players too. Nicholas Woutmatad has been on a streak. He scored a goal in the past 4 games for Newcastle. I keep mentioning him, and I think he's just a great player. Newcastle got a really good replacement for Isaac there. But also the players of international break have been doing really well. I think that Spain, Yeremy Pino, he scored against their most recent matchup, and I think that international break has been iffy. Salah just got Egypt into the World Cup, winning 3-0.
Really? I didn't see that.
Yeah, Salah just got Egypt into their first World Cup since, I believe, 2014. They weren't in Russia.
No.
And they weren't in Qatar.
Robbed of the Ballon d'Or, by the way. I know I'm a few weeks late, but just complete robbery, highway robbery.
Yeah, but I think I want to give an honorable mention out. I didn't do this last week because it was blatant that Dembele was going to win it because he won the Ballon d'Or this week. I do think Rasmus Højlund does deserve an honorable mention. I would really give it to him if it was up to me. 6 goals in I think 4 games. He's been playing amazing in Napoli. I think he's on loan. He's on loan to Napoli. I think they should just buy him straight up. And it's United, man.
And Nick, before we get to the actual player of the week and confirm it, I do want to throw one more name out there. And maybe it's the American in me, but I have to put Christian Pulisic in here. The way he has performed end of last season into the beginning of this season for AC Milan is the best soccer I've ever seen him play. I think he knows it's the best soccer he's ever played. And if he keeps that up and he can carry that into the World Cup and into these international breaks, I think that would be huge for this U.S. team, both momentum-wise and leadership-wise.
I mean, he won Player of the Month in Serie A, too. He's been playing amazing. A couple Player of the Months actually did get released. Haaland, as you mentioned, he got Player of the Month. Florio Thauvin for the French League, he got Player of the Month. I can't remember the La Liga. Oh, Kylian Mbappe was the La Liga Player of the Month off the top of my head.
Leading scorer, 9 goals.
Yep, he's been, oh my God, he's going to be phenomenal the rest of his career. I'm telling you, the real rivalry right now, like what we had in Messi and Ronaldo, it's going to be Haaland and Mbappe. It's not going to be to the extent, because Messi and Ronaldo are the 2 greatest players of all time, but Haaland and Mbappe is going to be the closest thing we're going to get for a very, very long time. So enjoy it while you can, folks, because, you know, they might not be here long. You know, I think Mbappe's 26, and I think Haaland's 25. So we got to cherish it while we can because, God, I wish I could go back 10 years and look at Messi and Ronaldo again.
Genuinely our childhoods and such an exciting rivalry to watch. Of course, them being in the same league as well. I mean, Messi, Ronaldo, you had the star-studded cast around them as well. You look at Suarez and Neymar for Messi, and then for Ronaldo, you had Benzema, Gareth Bale, Luka Modric in the midfield, Andres Iniesta in the midfield on the other side. Just genuinely 2 of the best teams I've ever seen, and every time those 2 met, it was beauty. 90 minutes of beauty.
And do you think it's weird? Do you think that it's really changed that the Barcelona and Real Madrid? You still think they're the top 2 teams in the world, or do you think it's Prem? Do you think it's switched to Prem?
I don't think it's fully switched to Prem. I think Barcelona and Man United or not Man United. My goodness, Real Madrid are definitely both still top 10 teams in the world, and I think it really is up for debate with anyone, depending on different opinions. You could probably pull teams from these top 4 leagues in the world and argue that any of them are in this top 10. I think the Premier League, La Liga are the top 2 leagues in the world, though, without a doubt.
And I think we're finally going to figure out who this player of the week is. And I think I agree with Mike fully on this. Mentioned him before. He won Player of the Month for the Prem. The player of the week, Erling Haaland, ladies and gentlemen.
Look at that beauty.
He had 3 goals, 2 games. 1 game was Champions League against Monaco. He's been City's focal point when it comes to just playing beautiful, beautiful soccer over there. Pep Guardiola knows where he wants him, and Erling Haaland, player of the week, number 2.
Yeah, you mentioned all his Premier League performance, but he also scored a hat-trick for Norway yesterday against Israel to squeak out that 4-0 win. So.
Yep, Haaland out of his mind, and he always will be. He's a robot. Everybody knows him as a robot. But, Mike, I really appreciate you being here. I really hope that we see Sam Brewer on the show next time. He's due for it. I thank you all for watching this show. We'll see you next time. We'll talk about some more interesting stuff as international break ends. I appreciate all of you, and you guys can tune in next time on WTOP 10 to Oswegolazo. Thank you all. Have a great night.